Greetings, Boogie fans! Michael here, and welcome to Week 5 of MandJTV's Metronome League, after which we will be halfway done with this inaugural season. Before we dive into the battles, let's do our usual recap of last week's matches. First was the 1-2 Intimidation versus the 2-1 Leaf Guardians. The Intimidation got ahead first, but Snacks and Smiley started dominating as soon as they hit the field for the Leaf Guardians. It eventually got down to just Thanatos in yellow health versus both Snacks and Smiley in green health. But Thanatos was able to pull off the most incredible comeback I have ever seen, getting big hits, surviving attacks, and avoiding Cursed Body, giving the Intimidation another comeback victory with one Pokemon left standing. Next was the undefeated Shadow Storm versus the winless Entry Hazards. The Entry Hazards looked like they might be able to pull off the win, having the advantage 3 Pokemon to 2. But then the Shadow Storm kicked it into high gear at the end, getting 3 KOs with 3 consecutive moves. The Shadow Storm stayed undefeated with 2 Pokemon left standing. Next was the undefeated Bolt Strikers versus the 2-1 Hive Mind. The Bolt Strikers continued to prove their dominance, especially since the Hive Mind couldn't get things going. Their only KO coming from Luna the Clefable self-destructing after several turns of not taking advantage of its Shell Smash stat boosts. That's a bit of a tongue twister there. The Bolt Strikers won dominantly with 3 Pokemon left standing. Finally was the 1-2 Mist Mavens versus the winless Dragon Knights. The Mist Mavens got the advantage early with some big hits. They kept that advantage for the rest of the match, and while Sprinkles the Togekiss was close to pulling off a comeback, it couldn't take down both Hopper and Bermuda, giving the Mist Mavens the win with 2 Pokemon left standing. The MVP for the Week 4 battles is easy. Thanatos the Dusknoir for the Intimidation. If you watched that, you truly understand how insane that comeback was. Thanatos basically gave the Intimidation that win by itself. Here are the standings after the Week 4 battles. I'm not perfect at analysis, but I believe the Bolt Strikers and Shadow Storm have officially clinched playoff berths, since even if they lose out, they'd still finish with better records than the Entry Hazards or Dragon Knights if they won out. They face each other today though, so only one will still be undefeated when this week is done. The middle part of the standings are all 2-2, but the Entry Hazards and Dragon Knights are still winless. If either wants a chance at playoffs, they must win at least 2 of their final 3 battles. 2 more losses will leave them a win behind the team just above them at best. But that should cover all of the intro stuff, so don't forget to subscribe to MandJTV Plays, this channel, since a whopping 67% of my viewers are not subscribed to this channel, so pretty please do so, I would appreciate it. And let's dive into the Week 5 battles of MandJTV's Metronome League. We're starting things off with our biggest match of the day, the Bolt Strikers versus the Shadow Storm. Today we'll be finding out which of these 2 undefeated teams will stay that way. The Shadow Storm lead off with their typical lead, Buster and Armando, while Tinker and Rush come in for the Bolt Strikers. I am extremely excited to see how this match plays out today, because after all, one of these teams is gonna move to 5-0, while one will finally take their first loss. Buster uses Power Swap on Rush. To be honest, oh, that's all changes, excuse me, so that did nothing. I thought that was just the stats, but it's the changes. Vital Throw onto Armando, not super effective, so therefore not very much damage. Rush moves next and gets Air Slash. Who's it onto? It's onto Armando! Super effective? Very big damage onto Armando there. Armando already down to just about a 1/3 HP. Doesn't flinch though. Answers with a Mud Shot, a special move, onto Tinker. Does a bit of damage and drops Tinker's speed. All right, so that first turn was definitely better for the Bolt Strikers. We might even see Armando switch out already, because that's pretty low HP to be at this early in the battle. Yep, there he goes. And out comes Curina. Now we have a very pink battlefield, something not that uncommon in Metronome. Flying Press! The cow jumped over the moon and didn't actually do that much damage to Tinker because of the fighting aspect of that move, and therefore both Psychic and Fairy resisted. Glaciate comes in from Rush. Strong Icy Wind hits both Pokemon. Does more to Buster, of course, and should drop both of their speed. Tinker moves next. Gets Bind. Ooh, but it misses. Ooh, would have been some nice, reliable damage there for the Bolt Strikers. But Purina, a surprisingly nimble Pokemon, is able to get out of the way. Probably uses rolling a lot to move so quickly. It's a very round Pokemon. Not able to avoid that Tar Shot, though. Now slower and weaker to fire. Miltank gets Recover. This cow will heal a bit of its HP and now be back to full. Tinker moves again and gets Wrap. And lands it this time. Couldn't land a Bind on Purina, so lands a Wrap on Buster. Tinker was dead set on getting that reliable damage. Purina Healing Wishes! And it's done! A full HP self-KOing move! Purina, a Pokemon known for having a lot of staying power, suddenly is gone. Wow. Healing Wish, though, will heal Armando back to full. I would say the Shadow Storm probably preferred that self-KOing move over a Self-Destructor Explosion, which would not do very much damage from a Chansey. Heal Pulse, and that will fail because both enemy Pokemon are full. Buster goes Power Swap again, but I don't think either had any changes to their attack or special attack. So once again, Buster wastes a move with Power Swap. Armando moves now, gets Rock Wrecker. This is big. This will be massive damage. On to Rush, and I was right. Rush holds on though. It's not an OHKO, but is now down to just a bit of HP left. Tinker uses Stored Power Stab, but ooh, super effective onto Armando. Good chunk of damage there. I don't know if Tinker had any stat buffs though. I can't recall. Regardless though, it was a good chunk of damage. Oh, it looks like the Bolt Strikers are checking, and yes, I was right. No buffs to its stats there. So that was a 20 base power stored power. If it had had some previous boosts, that would have done a lot more. Rush comes back in, and Disco takes Rush's place. The first switch for the Bolt Strikers in this battle. Buster gets to move and gets Fake Out, but it fails. It's not the first turn of the battle, and Armando must recharge from the Rock Wrecker. Tinker, the only Pokemon to have a chance to do something this turn, and it's Outrage. Great move to get in Metronome, getting some consistent damage over the course of a few turns, and that Wrap is continuing to wear Buster down. Let it be free, is what the Shadow Storm would say. Let Buster roam free. Don't restrain it in this way. Buster moves next. Gets String Shot, slowing down both the opposing Pokemon. Not sure this is much help. I believe both Shadow Storm Pokemon were already faster. Armando goes next and gets Power Whip, a physical move. Lands it on a Disco, it's neutral. Another big hit from Armando. Tinker continues its fit of Maniacal Rage and is able to get Buster down into yellow HP, and there's the confusion. Does not get 3 turns of Outrage. Disco goes next, gets Bone Meringue. How many times will it hit? 1. Oh, that's a lot of damage. 2. If this hits 3 times, nope. Armando avoids another Bone Meringue and is still standing. So the Bolt Strikers have 2 green HP Pokemon and 2 yellow HP Pokemon, while the Shadow Storm have 1 green HP, 1 yellow HP, and 1 red. So it seems the Bolt Strikers are certainly ahead here. We're going to see a switch. I think we might see switches on both sides here. Armando comes out. Red HP bringing in the fully healthy Frosting. Tinker is being withdrawn to get rid of that confusion, and in comes Rush. Ah, so normally the Bolt Strikers would probably bring in Poltegeist. Happy Hour does nothing. They'd probably bring in Poltegeist, but Poltegeist is Cursed Body, and it's in the Bolt Strikers' best interest to wait to bring in Cursed Body until the opposing team cannot switch. So that is why... Ooh, Buster gets rid of Scrappy on... Or excuse me, Disco gets rid of Scrappy on Buster. So Buster is no longer capable of hitting ghosts with normal or fighting moves, which could come into play when Royboss the Poltegeist comes in onto the field, if it does. Revenge. Has not taken damage. This will not be double power. Resisted. Rush takes that well. But yes, as I was saying, the Bolt Strikers are trying to preserve Cursed Body until the Shadow Storm only have 2 Pokemon. Woodhammer from Togetic onto Rush gets the KO. Rush goes down. The Bolt Striker, or excuse me, the Shadow Storm finally KO something. Disco moves now and gets Power Gem. Will this be onto Togetic? It looks like it's super effective. Oh, and almost KOs Frosting with a crit. That was huge damage. Wow, Frosting inches from being KO'd. The Bolt Strikers are in a much more favorable position here. The Shadow Storm needs some KOs if they're gonna bring this back. Aurora Veil will fail, there is no hail. Can't Aurora Veil if there ain't hail. Slash, ooh, this is gonna hurt. And Disco's down! Shadow Storm mounting a comeback with a stab physical attack from Miltank. Super Fang will have the remaining HP of Tinker. Tinker's getting low, but in comes Royboss, who is fully healthy and has Cursed Body. So while it is 3v2 now, I do still think the advantage is in favor of the Bolt Strikers due to the presence of Royboss. We've seen the havoc that Cursed Body can wreak on battles. Ally Switch. We will see if this Ally Switch ends up coming into play, or if it was just a wasted move. Buster goes next, gets Sleep Powder onto... Okay, so the Ally Switch made Tinker fall asleep instead of Royboss. If you didn't know, Royboss is a type of tea, and yes, it is pronounced like that. Poltergeist! Poltegeist gets Poltergeist! This is a new Isle of Armor move, uses the target's held item against them, and Frosting is smacked in the face with a ghostly Lepa Berry and goes down. Oh, I got so excited that the Poltegeist. Very exciting, I lost my voice. Pardon me. But yes, the Bolt Strikers, that one hit now tied in number of Pokemon, but the Bolt Strikers have more health. One big hit could take out Poltegeist though. Arm Thrust onto Tinker, who I believe 4 times resists that. Psychic and Fairy, I think both resist fighting. So 4 hits, but not much damage. Armando gets to go next. Will it heal? Will it attack? Gets Swagger onto Poltegeist, who is now confused and has double physical attack. If it attacks with a physical move, more damage, but if it hurts itself, it's even more. Royboss is confused, does not hurt itself, will get to move. Gets rest, but its HP is full, so it fails. So it didn't hurt itself, but it didn't accomplish anything. Tinker wakes up from its nappy wappy. Gets Lunge, physical bug move, onto Machamp, who resists it and holds on. Our attack falls though. Buster moves next, gets dual wing beat, but misses. Ooh, Wing Bean, new Isle of Armor flying move that I have not seen play out before. Healing Wish! Wow, Shadow Storm and their self-KOing moves today. Healing Wish fails because there's no Pokemon in the back. Royboss fights through confusion, gets stored power. This will be strong. And it takes out Buster. The Swagger attack boost increased stored power's power for Royboss to, I believe, 60. Because it's plus 20 for every positive stat boost. So 20 to 40 to 60. And that takes out Miltank. And now just one move of any kind could finish it. And I think this will do it. The Shadow Storm fall. And the Bolt Strikers remain the only undefeated team. 5 wins. Next up, we have the Intimidation versus the Dragon Knights. The Intimidation are 2-2, fresh off an incredible come-from-behind victory, while the Dragon Knights still have yet to get their first win, and will be trying for that today. The Dragon Knights lead off with Mr. Prime and Gex, while the Intimidation lead off with Xander and Springbok. Xander, faster than Gex, moves first, gets Head Smash. On-2, that's super effective, and Mr. Prime's already gone! The recoil, though, is there no... There's no recoil! That's right, Xander has Magic Guard! Head Smash, now Headbutt, Gex trying to avenge. Mr. Prime hits Springbok and makes it flinch. But oh my gosh, Xander with a first turn Oko! And no recoil from the Head Smash, that was incredible. And the Intimidation are already up 4 Pokemon to 3. Xander moves next, gets Petal Blizzard. That'll be super effective on Gex. Man, Xander is rolling, did big damage to its teammate Springbok though. Metal Burst, this is damage back onto Xander. Ooh, and Xander's already down to red HP. Wow, lots of big hits early in this match. And that is not one. DD smells nice, but not doing any damage. Wow, that's crazy. At the end of the second turn, we have 1 Pokemon fainted and 3 Pokemon. Oh, it's not even over yet. What's Springbok gonna do? Gets Giga Impact, but it misses. That certainly would have KO'd. Wow. This is a lot. Looks like Chopper and Thanatos are coming in for the Intimidation since both Xander and Springbok are low. Xander swaps out, in comes Chopper as anticipated. And by anticipated, I mean I saw it on the screen. Gex, now the fastest Pokemon on the field due to Xander switching out, and gets Dragon Rush. Ooh, good strong attack. It doesn't miss. Bit of damage there onto Chopper. Now DD goes. Heavy Slam. This I don't think will do very much. DD is, DD may be thick, but it's not thicker than a Poliwrath. And therefore, resisted hit with a very low base power. Gex moves and gets Volt Switch. Who's it on to? It is not on to Chopper, which I'm sure the Intimidation are grateful for. Might have even O-code Chopper. Maybe. Gex does have excellent special attack. Gex is forced to switch, so in comes Sprinkles. DD gets Poltergeist. Who's it on to? On to Dusknoir, that's super effective! Big damage onto Thanatos. And 3 of the Intimidation's Pokemon are already down to yellow HP. Yellow or red. Chopper using Reflect type. No longer water fighting, now Psychic Normal. And that's actually arguably a good thing. Attract fails. It's arguably a good thing that it's Psychic Normal because now Chopper goes from having 1 immunity from Water Absorb to 2. Water Absorb and its normal typing makes it immune to Ghost. DD moves next, gets Echoed Voice. Ooh, this is Stab. On to Chopper. Decent chunk of damage there. Sprinkles goes after that. head charge, and it doesn't affect it. Wow. Lots of head-related moves today. Overheat. Onto Sprinkles. About a quarter of its HP there, but Chopper's special attack has now harshly been lowered. Thanatos moves next and gets Present, but it misses. Christmas not coming this year. That sounded very bleak. Christmas will still happen, just not in this battle. Didi uses superpower. Onto Chopper. Neutral hit, and Chopper's down to red HP. The Intimidation have more Pokemon, but all of them are at under a quarter HP, approximately. Shockwave, super effective on a Chopper, but it hits Thanatos, who is down. Gets a KO regardless, and now it's 3v3. The Dragonites have taken the advantage back. Gets Swagger onto Indeedee, who will now have +2 attack, but is confused. Yes, look how low the HP is for the Intimidation's Pokemon here. So while the number of Pokemon is the same, the Dragon Knights have a lot more health. All 3 of their Pokemon still in green. This could mean that the Dragon Knights might get their first win. But it's also important to realize we've seen 2 come from behind comebacks from the Intimidation so far. You can't count the Intimidation out until the battle's over. Xander goes next, gets Night Slash onto Togekiss, who will resist the hit, and it will do very little damage. What will Sprinkles answer with? And it's Double Team. Ooh, one of the most deeply annoying moves in all of Pokemon. Chopper gets Fairy Wind onto Gex. It does very little damage due to the fact that its special attack was harshly lowered by the overheat. Oh, Gex is faster than Xander now. Gets Pain Split though. Oh, that's actually bad for Gex. That's gonna damage Gex and heal Chopper. Xander gets Rapid Spin. Damage onto Gex. Does not KO. It gets it down into red. And now Xander should be faster than Gex. Do they speed tie maybe? Parting Shot. Togekiss leaving the field, but not before getting in a last word insult against Chopper. Dropping its attack and special attack. This means Chopper is now at -1 attack. And -3 special attack, I believe. Chopper gets Water Pledge, it's Stab onto Didi, but very little damage due to the very lowered special attack, and it looks like the Intimidation want those attacking stats back, and they will be switching Chopper out. I think we'll be seeing a switch on the other side as well, yes! The Dragon Knights switch out Gex. This is allowed because unintentional switches, due to Parting Shot, those don't count for the switch rule, so that was a legal move there. Xander gets Sand Tomb, but onto the Flying type. Great switch for the Dragon Knights there. Tar Shot from Didi. Oh no. Xander taking a trip to La Brea. Getting stuck in those tar pits. Weaker to fire and slower. Canceling out the Rapid Spin boost. So Xander, still the fastest Pokemon on the field. Gets Earth Power, not onto Togekiss this time. Hits Didi for a good chunk of damage there. Didi gets Gust. Ooh, who's this onto? It's onto the wrong Pokemon, and Xander holds on with 3 HP. Would have been super effective on Springbok. Springbok gets Overheat now. Wow, more damage than I was expecting. Didi now down into red. So Togekiss is the only green HP Pokemon left, gets Heat Crash. And it's not enough to KO. Togekiss does either not outweigh Hitmonlee or doesn't outweigh it by enough. Xander gets to move again with only 3 HP, gets double hit onto Didi and only takes 1. Xander holding on from the last attack, gets a chance to get in a KO with a single hit. Springbok using its potent eyes to glare Sprinkles into paralysis. So the only green HP Pokemon left now has to deal with a status condition. It is now 3v2. The Intimidation are trying to bring it back. But the Intimidation have 2 very low Pokemon and a third somewhat low Pokemon. Fire Lash, this will KO something, absolutely. And it's Springbok down for the count after being whipped with fire. Quick attack from Xander targets Sprinkles, who is fully paralyzed. Might have been able to KO Gex, but I'm not sure. All right, folks, these are the final 4 Pokemon for this battle, and this could go either way. Although one strong targeting both enemy Pokemon move from Gex could end it here. Shore Up Gex heals! Oh, that is fantastic for the Dragon Knights. Covering itself with sand. Exactly as it planned, I'm sure. Gex now back up to green HP and the Intimidation. Oh, Horn Leech. Who's it onto? It's onto Sprinkles. Ooh. But the Intimidation wish that had hit Gex. Xander would have healed much more HP as a result. But the Intimidation are now at a disadvantage. Darkest Lariat onto Togekiss, who will resist the hit. Down to only about a quarter HP, but it's taking those hits well. Liquidation onto not the water absorb Pokemon, and Xander is down. It is now once again Chopper by himself up against green HP Gex and yellow HP paralyzed Sprinkles. Don't count the Intimidation out yet. They've done this twice before. Grassy Terrain. So Togekiss will not be getting health back, but Gex and Chopper will. Chopper gets payback. This will not be doubled in power, and it's onto the Fairy type. Wow, Intimidation having trouble with hitting Sprinkles with all of these resisted hits. Payday, neutral hit. Not sure how much it'll do. Not very much, but Chopper's now down to red HP. Might get back into yellow with this healing though. Yes, it does. Chopper needs a big hit on Gex and a hit strong enough to KO Sprinkles if the Intimidation want to win this. Fling! Oh! Gex just lost its Lepa Berry, did very little damage to Chopper. Berries have low fling power and it was a resisted hit. Chopper's got Metronome PP. I think the Intimidation are totally fine with that. Chopper gets Reflect type onto Togekiss. Oh! Chopper is now, so that's a positive and a negative for Chopper. Because as a positive, it now went from 1 immunity to water to 3. It's now immune to water, ground, and dragon. But the downside, as you'll see here, is that because Chopper is now flying, it will not get the healing from the grassy terrain anymore. So it's a give and take. Gex doesn't have a Lepa Berry anymore though, and I don't know what its PP is at for Metronome. It's on the far side of the field, so I can't see that information on this from this point of view. But the fact that it lost its Lepa Berry could come into play, might not. Poison Powder fails, seems it targeted the already status conditioned Pokemon. Spikes, that is a wasted turn. There is no more switching for the Intimidation. Not the move that the Dragon Knights needed here. Gex now the only Pokemon getting healthier from the grassy terrain. Chopper doing a great job holding on here. The Dragon Knights need to finish this. Magnetic Flux fails. That, I believe, only impacts Pokemon that have plus or minuses their ability. Poltergeist. Wow, a lot of Poltergeist. On to Sprinkles. Will it KO? Yes, it will. It's 1v1. Chopper takes out Togekiss, the fairy flying Poliwrath, up against Gex, the Inteleon, who needs to KO Chopper ASAP. Coaching, not what it needs. Coaching doesn't work if you don't have a partner Pokemon. Chopper gets Poison Jab. This will be good damage. Less than I thought, actually, but doesn't get the poisoning. And the grassy terrain is gone. No more healing for Gex. One good hit from Gex should be enough to take out Chopper here. Or the Dragonite's gonna be able to bring this home. Brine! Water Absorb! That was exactly the wrong thing that the Dragon Knights needed to do. Chopper is now back to half health. Chopper gets Spite! That's dropping Inteleon's Metronome PP. It doesn't have its Lepa Berry anymore because of its Fling. What is Gex's Metronome PP at? It might be running out soon. It's out! Gex is out of Metronomes and it is struggling. But it's doing a decent amount of damage with it. I don't know how this is gonna turn out. Air Cutter, that's Stab because it's a Fairy Flying type. And Gex is done with a crit Air Cutter. The Intimidation once again get a win with a come from behind victory. How do they keep getting away with this?
Next, we have the Leaf Guardians versus the Entry Hazards. The Leaf Guardians are 2-2 and will be looking to improve to a winning record, while the Entry Hazards are trying to get their first win still. They lead with Abdonis and Mr. Dime, while the Leaf Guardians lead with Jazz Hands the Rampaging and Dexter. I'm excited to see how this match will play out this week. You never know how the Leaf Guardians are gonna perform. Hurricane! A special move, but it's not onto Abdonis. It's onto Mr. Dime, who takes it a lot better than Abdonis would have. Mystical Fire coming out from Mr. Dime onto Jazz Hands the Rampaging, dropping its special attack. Doesn't have very good special attack anyways though, so I'm sure the Leaf Guardians don't really mind that. Abdonis gets Dual Chop, physical move onto Jazz Hands, hits both times, and Jazz Hands the Rampaging is already down to under half health before it even gets the chance to move. Now it will get the chance to move though, and will be playing nice, ruining the streak of everybody getting some damaging moves this turn. Drops Abdonis's physical attack, which is not a stat it likes to see dropped. Dexter, once again, the fastest on the field, gets Hyper Beam! That is Stab! That's probably gonna KO whoever it hits! The massive power slams into Abdonis, blasting it away from full health, and the Leaf Guardians get a KO! Wow! What an incredible move from Dexter there! Scorching Sands from Mr. Dime. That sand is hot, 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 and it has burned Jazz Hands the Rampaging. The Entry Hazards are answering with an almost KO. Jazz Hands the Rampaging uses Hail, which will chip itself away even more. The burn damage and hail damage might just KO Jazz Hands the Rampaging this turn. There's the hail damage. And Jazz Hands the Rampaging holds on, but will fall to burn or hail damage. It will absolutely be switched out this next turn. Meanwhile, Mr. Dime, over on the side of the Entry Hazards, doesn't mind a bit of hail. It's just a regular old day in the park for it. Snackinold, the Abdonis replacement, sent out off the bench for the Entry Hazards. Jazz Hands is switched out, and in comes Snacks, and we have a father versus son battle. Snackinold versus Snackinold Jr., aka Snacks. Let's see who is able to win between the master and the apprentice. Snacks already at a disadvantage as Mr. Dime was able to glare it. Will Snackinold hold back against his son? Dragon Tail hits his son Snacks for good damage, forces it out. And back in comes Jazz Hands the Rampaging, who will feint this turn to hail and or burn. Wow! The entry hazards were like, no, you don't get to escape a KO. Get back in here and go down like you're supposed to. And it is now 3v3. What a great move by Snackinold there, and Snacks comes back in. Not a great first turn. Didn't get to move. Let's see if Snacks will be able to get a good hit in on his father. Dexter still the fastest, gets Wish, so the Pokemon in that slot will be healed up in a few turns. Potentially Dexter himself. Mr. Dime moves next and gets Happy Hour. Not the time, Mr. Dime. You're in the middle of an important battle. Not the time to go to the bar and enjoy Happy Hour. There are other days for that. Snackinold gets Mist, which I believe prevents the entry hazard side from having any of their stats dropped. Snacks gets to move now and gets Heat Crash onto his father, but it doesn't do very much because Snackinold weighs more than Snacks does, as should be relatively obvious. So did get a hit in, but not a great one. Let's see what Dexter does now. Gets Forest's Curse. A lot of people mistake this move for adding Ghost type to the Pokemon. No, that is Trick or Treat. The Grass type is added with Forest Curse. So now, Snackinold is a Grass normal type. Metal Sound coming from Mr. Dime, but it does miss. Snackinold moves again and gets Gear Grind. Strong physical move onto Snacks. All that damage was just one hit. If it hits one more time, it doesn't. Oh, but the hail. If Snacks doesn't heal here, Snacks is down. Rising Voltage. I finally learned how this move works, and it does double damage on electric terrain. Not very effective because Snackinold is a Grass type now. And that is the end of Snacks. In this match, the father wins over the son. Snacks probably frustrated by that loss, but could be a good motivator to train harder in the future. But now the Leaf Guardians are down to their final two Pokemon, while the entry hazards still have three. Michael, or excuse me, not Michael, that's the referee. The entry hazards are withdrawing Snackinold to bring in Barry, whose Aroma Veil can stop Smiley's cursed body. Smiley gets Power Gem, strong special move. It is not onto the Pokemon weak to rock. Probably would have KO'd Mr. Dime, but does a good chunk of damage on to Barry. Psybeam from Dexter, that's stab, but it's on to Mr. Dime, who resists it. Mr. Dime doing a very good job sticking around in this battle. A lot of times it's fainted quickly, but after all this time, it's still at half health. Gets Fire Blast, strong special move, big hit onto Smiley, and Barry's Aroma Veil stops the cursed body. The hail finally stops, and the entry hazards are most certainly in the more favorable position here. I'm sure the Leaf Guardians desperately need to KO Barry so they can stop that Aroma Veil. They will be faster now, but I don't know if that mattered because they were already faster. Dexter gets Fairy Wind, special move onto Barry. Does a bit of damage, but not as much as they would have liked. Mr. Dime gets a chance to move and gets Shell Smash. Ooh. Last time we saw a Shell Smash, saw a Shell Smash by the seashore. It was Luna the Clefable, which did not really get a chance to do anything with that. It's time to see whether Mr. Dime will get to take advantage of that increased power. Barry gets Conversion 2, changing the user's type into a type that resists the target's last used move, and Barry's now a steel type. Well, that's interesting. Now a lot more resistances, more weaknesses. I believe 3 instead of 2. Revenge onto Mr. Dime, who holds on despite having lowered defenses. Dexter uses Lock On, so its next attack will not miss if it targets Barry. Mr. Dime's still around, and it gets Weather Ball. Does not target Gengar, targets Dexter. And that was good damage there. Thanks to the doubled special attack, Barry moves next, gets Minimize. It's gone from a cream cake to a cream cupcake. Really very difficult to hit it now. Minimize and double team. No one likes them unless you're using them. So I'm sure the entry hazards are pleased. Let's see what Smiley's able to do here. And it gets Tail Whip, which will drop the defense of both enemy Pokemon. Mr. Dime is now at -2 physical defense, but due to its low HP, I have a feeling they won't switch, because most any hit would KO it anyways, and they want to take advantage of the offensive power. Night Daze onto, not onto Mr. Dime, it's onto Barry, who would have resisted that if it was still Fairy type, so it did more damage. Mr. Dime gets Blizzard! Stab! Hits both! And the entry hazards have their first win! Wow! Fantastic performance by Mr. Dime, finally giving the entry hazards a much needed victory. Our next battle is the Mist Mavens up against the Hive Mind. Both of these teams are 2-2, so the winner will move to having a winning record, while the loser will fall to a losing record. This will be an interesting match today because these are the 2 teams with the 2 Prankster Pokemon. Therefore, Prankster does not work against Dark-type opponents, meaning Aventure and Hellion Spawn cannot hit each other. Aventure leads off with a Powder Snow. Since Hellion Spawn is not on the field for the Mist Mavens, Mist Mavens are probably hoping to deal with Aventure before Hellion Spawn has to come onto the field. Chad gets Accelerock, which is resisted by Gold and therefore does not do very much damage. Ooh, Seismic Toss, this will be 50 HP damage onto Chad. And that's a good chunk of a hit there. Hopper, the last Pokemon to move this turn, and gets Imprison on the first turn? Oh my god! The Mist Mavens just got potentially the greatest move to get on turn 1 in any Metronome battle. This means every opposing Pokemon on the Hive Mind will be forced to struggle. Now, struggle does mean they will be reliably getting damage, but they're taking a lot of recoil in the process. Chad gets Ice Punch. Not much damage, and it freezes Luna? So this is actually a mixed bag here, because if Luna's frozen, it's not struggling. So therefore it can't harm itself, it's not gonna do any damage. And the Imprison could go away if enough struggles land onto Hopper and KO it, or if Hopper uses a move that forces it to switch, like Teleport or Volt Switch, the Imprison can go away. But the Hive Mind are in a tough spot. Also, another thing to consider here is that you'll probably see a lot of switches happening. The strategy, if your opponent has Imprison, is to switch as much as you legally can, because that way you're only taking struggle recoil every other turn, while the Pokemon that has used Imprison is using Metronome every turn and then has a higher chance to get Teleport or a self-KOing move or something like that. The Mist Mavens, while Hopper is going to stay in, the other Pokemon will probably switch a lot too, so there's a lower chance of that Pokemon using a move that could harm Hopper. So that's the strategy that you're going to see unfold in this battle, most likely. Luna might switch less than the others because Luna is frozen and therefore cannot struggle until it thaws. So you're seeing the double switch. You'll probably see a lot of double switching until a Pokemon eventually falls. But the rules of this league are that you can only intentionally switch every other turn. So the Hive Mind will still have to switch and then deal with struggle for a turn. Hopper gets Fissure and lands it? Are you kidding me? Well, this is just disgusting. My God, Hopper. Hopper is here and is not taking any nonsense. It has imprisoned and it has landed a Fissure and it is at almost full health. This is ridiculous. Frozen Luna comes back in. And honestly, the Hive Mind might just hope she stays frozen until Hopper happens to KO itself, if it even will, because it's on a hot streak right now. Gets Glaciate. Damage onto both opposing Pokemon. Good chunk of damage to Adventure there. Drops their speed. I don't think they're really worried about that. They're already slow due to the sticky web. Bermuda moves next, gets smacked down. Shouldn't do much damage. It's a physical move. Indeed, not much damage there. Luna still frozen. Has not thawed, and Adventure has to struggle. Not very much damage onto Hopper, a lot of damage to Adventure. Wow, this is... We might see them... This, unless something changes, like a teleport or a volt switch or U-turn by Hopper, this could very well end up being the most one-sided battle so far. It already is. It's just a matter if it stays that way. Hopper gets Power Whip. Good, powerful move, doesn't miss. Hits Chanel. Big damage there, and Chanel will fall to her next struggle. Bermuda goes next and gets imprisoned again? What? I've never seen this! 2 imprisons! Both Bermuda and Hopper are actively imprisoning the Hive Mind. Even if the Hive Mind take out one, the other is still there! This is absurd! Hopper just buffing itself? Oh my God! I am flabbergasted! Bamboozled Speckledorfed! And Bermuda immediately teleports out. See, imprison can go away at any time, but unfortunately for the Hive Mind, Hopper is still there and still imprisoning. My God, that's kind of brutal. If you're in the Hive Mind's position, you finally get a imprisoned Pokemon to switch out, but it was the second one. And Chanel goes down, and all that's left is a frozen Luna and Adventure the Sableye. Sableye will fall to its next struggle. Meanwhile, Luna has remained healthy because it's been frozen for a really long time. Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Double hit, misses Luna. Hopper goes. Court change. So that does not switch the imprison, that switches the sticky web. So now the Mistmaidens are dealing with the sticky web, but I really don't think they care. Adventure struggles, struggle recoil takes it out, and Luna is the only obstacle remaining for the Mistmaidens, who is still frozen. Good God. The Mistmaidens just have to take out Luna, and they have a 4-0 victory. I think they honestly wish Luna would thaw. If Luna thaws out, it can start hurting itself with struggle. Right now, it's just sitting there. Got a bit of damage there. Now it's finally under half health. Trick or treat. Not what the Mist Mavens want. As now, Luna will be Ghost Fairy, so we'll have some immunities, and it's still frozen. Still frozen. Freeze is ridiculous. The Mist Mavens are probably sitting here like, dude, just thaw. Ice Fang, if it wasn't frozen, would probably freeze it again. Luna's just got a bit of HP left. Hopper could finish the battle here and gets Recover. Oh my God, Hopper. Hopper refusing to let the Hive Mind, whose Clefable is still frozen. How many turns has this been? Hopper came in, imprisoned the first turn, somehow at green HP. Burn Up fails. Hellion Spawn is not a fire type. Pollen Puff, this will be, I think, 4 times resisted. I believe Fairy and Ghost both resist Bug. Still frozen! Oh my God! The Mist Mavens are just sitting here like, just thaw and let us end this. Just thaw out, you struggle, and let us go home and celebrate. Block doesn't work, it's a Ghost type. Hopper gets Strength Sap, which does not harm it. Hopper healing up. Mist Mavens, just let us go home. The battle is so close. Luna, thaw out! How is this battle still going? You've been frozen for, what, has it been 10 turns? Ally switch. Guys, any attack. The Mist Mavens are just drawing out the suffering of the Hive Mind. Hopper Magnet Rises instead of attacking. Luna, okay. Someone in the comments tell me how many turns Luna was frozen, because I think this might be the longest series of being frozen I've ever seen in any Pokemon battle ever. Hellion gets Earthquake, which doesn't even damage Hopper because of Magnet Rise, and the Mist Mavens finally end it after imprisoning on the first turn, landing a Fissure, getting a second Imprison, freezing a Clefable that never thaws, that we just witnessed the most dominant victory in Metronome I have ever seen. Thanks so much for watching this week of MandJTV's Metronome League. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future installments, and that is all I have for now. So until next time, pick up hands. Gotta catch them all.